pleasant Friday to you, and welcome to Kentucky Derby weekend here at Lone Star Park. Today, the Kentucky Oaks. Coming up tomorrow, the Kentucky Derby. You can watch and wager on it here at Lone Star Park. Gates will open early tomorrow at 10:30. The first race is early tomorrow as well at 1:05. And even though we're not hearing ourselves on the PA, if you are in the building and are hearing us on a monitor, you can advance wager tonight on tomorrow's activities. And we've had a few scratches today as we're off the turf tonight. Have they run the Oaks yet, or is it still coming up?
They have run the Oaks.
Okay.
Probably about half an hour ago, the Oaks went off. I watched. It was a pretty good race. Not the horses I picked came in on top.
I didn't know who was in it this year, to be honest, and wasn't able to take it in once I got here. So
well, that's over and done with. But like you mentioned, advanced wagering tonight for tomorrow's Kentucky Derby. So if you can't make it out here to Lone Star Park tomorrow, you can put those wagers in tonight. Hopefully find you some good horses for that Derby tomorrow. I've got one picked out that's a little bit of a long shot that I'm excited about. So we'll see tomorrow how it all unfolds. And I don't know, who knows? Maybe I'll retire about 7 o'clock tomorrow evening or so.
Well, that would be interesting. So we are listed as good for the time being on the main track, but the way this track tends to dry out quickly, especially with some sun on it and warm temperatures, I would imagine that we're really going to be dealing with a fast track pretty soon, or at least fast-like conditions, but no turf. That's the effect of overnight rain and previous day rain. Sometimes it has a ripple effect. But 8 races tonight. Once again, tomorrow we've got 11 races, but they start at 1:05 Central a little bit earlier. On to the first. Scratch the 4, Elena May. That leaves a field of 7. These are non-winners of 2 $7,500 claiming fillies. And, I like Tensaw Lulu, the 8, from the get-go here. Did you scratch into her? Or
no, this was the horse that I was taking on top as well.
I liked her from the get-go. Might be a light night for Broberg. He scratched a lot of the off-the-turf races, but I think he's got a pretty good shot at a win here.
Oh, he's just saving them for another day when they can run on the grass, and then we'll come back and pick them that day as well. Because I had a lot of Broberg horses tonight. But Tensau's Lulu, the number 8 here, I think this is one to watch. I mean, coming from the outside, this is a short race, 5.5 furlongs, so it's going to have to get up there and be speedy toward the beginning, I would think, to try to move inside, save some ground. But this horse right here, first 2 races of his career, her career, showed a lot of speed in those races, was up there toward the front most of the way around. The next 2 races of the most recent 2 races, didn't see that same running style, and, the result didn't turn out well. Now, those were some allowance races there. The first 2 were in maiden special weights, but this horse did pick up a win after the beginning of the year, back on the 11th of January at Delta Downs. Won that race by 6 3/4. I think if this horse can get back to that form, get on the lead, I think, and hopefully take him gate to wire, I think there's a lot to like about the 8 here. My second choice is going to be number 3. Cinco Gal. This is a horse that's trained by Ronnie Cravens. He's had a pretty good year so far. I think the first 2 weekends of the meet, we've seen him in the winner's circle a few times. Now, Cinco Gal, this horse was a winner last time out, broke that maiden at the $7,500 level. It's going to face winners here today for the first time, but in for that $7,500 tag once again. That last race, Ernesto Valdez Jimenez rode this horse from gate to wire for a nice 4 3/4 length victory. I think take a look at the 3, and then I got the 5 as my third choice. That is Bose Artis, I'm guessing is how you say that. This horse has been in some $7,500 claiming races. Has finished well in 2 of those 3, the last 3 races. Had a second and a third down at Sam Houston and a 5th mixed in with it. So we'll see if this horse can't get up there toward the front. But I think after looking at his past performances, the 5 can get up there and have a nice run here in the opener.
I'm on Tensaw Lulu, too. At a shorter 5.5 furlong distance, I think she has an advantage. She's fast. She's dropping in a big way, but her last 2 races at the fairgrounds and race before that at Delta were against much better quality fillies, and she finished way up the track. Only beat 1 horse combined in both of them, but some of the fillies that she was in with were multiple stakes placed. Some of them, like that Fire Vision that won the race she was in 2 outs ago, is 3 for 3 this year. So those are some really tough fillies. It's the first time, though, that she has faced anybody but Cajun bred, so we'll see how she fares in this open company spot. one thing I think is interesting, and it has no bearing on me picking her or anything else, but Carl Broberg bought this filly out of the Texas Thoroughbred Association Yearling and Horses of Racing Age sale, and she races for his End Zone Athletics, which is interesting because his End Zone Athletics owns a lot of the horses he trains, but not all of them, and he does get some yearlings, but I don't recall seeing him personally buy too many. I'm sure it happens, but I just thought that was interesting. He's had her all the way along, but didn't get her to the races after buying her as a yearling until 2023. So hung on to her. Had to pay for a lot of feed and room and board until she started making money, but she has made on the track twice her purchase price. Second race. A really short 4.5 furlongs. This is essentially a redraw of a race that was rained out a couple of Saturdays ago. Optional claiming $10,000, or you had to have started for $62.50 or less the last 2 years. And I picked Play Rule when this race was drawn originally, but I didn't have the guts to go back to him. So if Play Rule wins, I will be the gutless wonder, because even though he's beating quarter horses here, I didn't go back to him today.
Yeah, Play Rule, like you mentioned, beat some quarter horses out here. There was a horse that he beat, Detective Bernardo, who ran out here last week or the week before, and I was on that horse coming out of that 870 race, and I think he didn't fire. So
no, and I think he's maybe a little cheaper than these anyway.
Yeah,
I think with Magic Castle and Fire Sword, you got a couple of pretty tough ones.
Yeah, we both got those horses won too. I mean, Fire Sword, the number 4. I like this horse. This horse has been running in some races similar to this. They'll start her optional claimings, not in for the tag in those races, and doing very well. I mean, this horse has won 2 out of the last 3. 3 out of the last 5 races. So, I mean, and the horse definitely knows how to win. Most recent one was a 2-length victory at Sam Houston Race Park. That was at 6 furlongs. Going a short 4.5 now, like you mentioned, but if you look at all these different races, this horse likes to be up there toward the front, shows a lot of speed. I think this is a good spot for Fire Sword. Number 5, Magic Castle, my second choice here. It's another one that's coming in off a win last time out. Now, that one happened at Will Rogers Downs, won that race by half a length. David Cabrera gets the mount today. We know that this guy can win a ton of races out here. I think Magic Castle and Fire Sword are the 2 to watch here in this spot. And then I got number 1, In the Arch, as my third choice here. Another one trained by Carl Broberg. This is a horse that has had some good finishes. It's only run one time so far in 2024. That was back in the fairgrounds on the 14th of March. Hasn't worked since then. Kind of ran a lackluster race that day. Beat half the field, but was still beaten by 8 1/4. We'll see if In the Arch isn't ready to go his second back after a layoff. I got it 4-5-1 here in race 2.
The interesting thing about In the Arch is if you look back to his last win, it was on the slop at Delta. Now, I don't think the slop's a factor at all here, but he was at the first point of call, he was 6 lengths off the lead in a 5/8 race, and he winds up closing and winning, going one turn at Delta. Here, he's going, a furlong and a half. Let's see, 4.5. Oh, he's going a furlong shorter. But, boy, you get to that turn fast. I mean, you see some horses close going 870 here, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to count on a closer in a 4.5 furlong race necessarily. Third race, not that it can't happen. Race 3, 1 mile on the main track. There's 2 Dick Capalucci's that I think are interesting in here, the 2 and the 9. Yo Soy Roy is the 9. The 2 is Chasing Coyotes. All of the contenders, the main contenders in here are 3-year-olds, but it is written for 3-year-olds and up, Texas-bred maidens.
And it's interesting that we both landed on the same horse here in race number 3. 10-1 morning line on the 4, He's Charming. So this horse is owned and trained by Jade Gelner. I was talking about him on the show last week, how he seems to win a lot of races, and when I don't pick him, he wins. And so I got to pick him all the time now. Now, He's Charming, this number 4 horse. I mean, had a good race last time out. That was in a maiden special weight at Sam Houston. Finished 3rd in that race, missing by 3/4 of a length. That was in a field of 11. Now, the change is that race came on the turf. This one right here is scheduled for 1 mile on the dirt. Now, that was his first time to route last time out. Had a pretty good run at it. Changes, goes back to the dirt where this horse has run his other 5 races. I think that He's Charming could have a good race tonight. That second route in his career. This one going back to the dirt. I'll roll the dice on He's Charming, especially at 10-1 here in this spot. We'll see if we can't come out of this ahead in race number 3. The 10 Sunny Bob coming from the outside is my second choice here. Last time out, didn't have the best race, finished 6th, beaten by 13 3/4. But if you look before that, I mean, this horse has hit the board every other start this year. Doesn't have that win, but 2 starts back was a solid second-place finisher at this 1-mile distance. And then my third choice is going to be the one right beside Sunny Bob. That's number 9, Yo Soy Roy. This horse back-to-back second-place finishes in maiden special weights. Wasn't beaten by a whole bunch in either one of those races. Now, he comes in here from Sunland. We've seen some horses that have come in here and run very well from Sunland.
Sure.
Not one of my top tracks to make that switch from somewhere else to Lone Star Park. But, you know what? I think this horse does have some ability, and we'll see if he can't get out there and run a big one here in race number 3.
Yeah, I mean, the purses there, I think, are pretty good, and I'm not afraid of Sunland horses. I'm afraid of Yo Soy Roy because, A, I think he's going to be a short price, and B, to me, he looks like a late-running sprinter. I could be proven wrong, but horses that run late in sprints always draw a lot of money when they stretch out to 2 turns, but they don't always. It's like that horse that, that closes really hard, let's say, in the Wood Memorial or the Arkansas Derby, and people think, oh, well, he's going to love that extra quarter of a mile or whatever, or eighth of a mile in the Derby, and doesn't always happen. Or the horse that closes in the Derby that goes in the Belmont. That's probably a better example. But late-running sprinters don't always translate to 2-turners. I watched Yo Soy Roy's race on February 29th at Sunland. He did make up good ground, but he is a slow breaker, and he broke slowly that day. He was unbelievably wide, and he was being asked pretty hard like the last half mile. So he didn't sit and wait and then rally late. He was just ask. So you can have him. I think he's a late-running sprinter. I'm going with He's Charming. I hope he can approximate that turf form. He could be a turfer, and, we're just kind of falling for that turf race now that it's on the dirt. But he battled hard that day, really battled hard, and wound up finishing 3rd. I'm going to take him over Yo Soy Roy, and Chasing Coyotes, another stretch-outer for Capalucci that, to me, looks more like he might enjoy the extra distance than the favorite. But we'll see. 4th is Off Turf. It'll be run at 5/8 of a mile on the main track. And we've got 4 scratches out of here, 3 Gray Zone, 6 Twirling Tigress, 8 Hal's Dream, 9 Pink Solitaire. Never Sway, who Rick Lee hung at 3-5 on the morning line, gets in, and he's our top pick.
Yeah, I mean, this is the start of the pick 5 here as well. So if you're looking for a single, maybe Never Sway is the one that you're going to want to take. 3-5 from Rick Lee, I mean, that you don't see that very often.
No.
So he's got confidence that this horse was going to take a lot of money. I mean, last time out, this horse was at Oaklawn Park, ran 3rd in that one in the starter there, missed just by a neck. There was a next out winner that finished 2nd in that race. Race before that, this horse was a winner at Oaklawn Park, over 2 next out winners. So, I mean, this horse has been running in some races with some decent horses. Before his 2024 campaign, Southern California is where we saw Never Sway. Horse was able to pick up a win out there. I think there's a lot to like about this 10 horse. And, I mean, with the scratches, he's drawing inside even more. So, not bad at all. Number 7, Fiesta Besta. That's going to be my second choice. Horse that's got a lot of speed. You see a lot of ones there in those calls. Last time out, won it after leading it gate to wire as the favorite, won by half a length in that one. Now, that was on the turf. When is the last time this horse ran on the dirt? Well, that was just 2 starts back at the fairgrounds. In a maiden special weight over there in Louisiana, showed some speed in that race. Ended up fading a little bit down the end, but a solid 3rd in that race. I think that was a tough spot to be. So let's see what happens with Fiesta Besta. And then I got number 1, Tay-Tay's Baby, as my 3rd choice right here. If you look at those last 3 races, a 1st, a 2nd, and a 3rd. One of those coming on the dirt, that was the win. That was at Sam Houston back in March of this year. So let's see if Tay-Tay's Baby can get something done here. I got it 10, 7, and 1.
Yeah, I'm on the same top 2. I threw Let Her Buck, who comes in from Will Rogers, in as a 3rd selection. 5/8 helps. This horse won as a 6-5 favorite 2 races ago. I charted that race, actually. That was a wire-to-wire, relatively handy win. and then was even money and kind of blew last time. I wasn't there for that, but nonetheless, that was a non-winners of 2 allowance for Oklahoma Breds. Now faces a first-level allowance here for Open Company. But Lutterbuck has the kind of speed that might make her a little bit dangerous. But I'm curious to see if Fiesta Besta fires on the main track early like she did on March 6th at the fairgrounds in that off-the-turf affair. If so, she'll probably make the lead. On to race number 5. 3/4 of a mile, $50,000 optional claimer or non-winners of 2 life can get into this. These are all 3-year-olds. Scratch number 3, Honor and Fire. I had a little bit of a tough call here between the 5 and the 9, but you tossed that and went straight to the Broberg trainee,
well,
Magical
Mark.
Mark.
I had some trouble between the 5 and the 9 as well. I just said, all right, I'll take the 7 instead. Magical Mark. Number 7, 8-1 morning line for this horse. I mean, if you look, last year, last summer, last fall, this horse was in a couple stakes races. One at Ellis Park, one at Remington. Since then, went over to Louisiana, had 3 races at Delta Downs, 2 of them last winter. Ran decent in those, a 3rd and a 2nd. Most recent race came back in early February of this year. Finished 2nd in that one as well. Not bad at all, those last 3 races this horse has put together. But what I like about this horse is the workouts. I mean, if you look at the 2 most recent workouts coming right here at Lone Star Park, both of them were fairly decent. So I'm guessing this horse is going to be ready to go. I like seeing David Cabrera aboard. Magical Mark, won a little bit of a price here in race number 5. I'll take the horse. Number 9, 3rd Street is going to be my second choice. It's another one that's coming out of some stakes races. Last time out, ran down there at Sam Houston. Finished 6 of 10 in that race. But if you take a look at the race before that, 3rd Street was a winner. It came at 6.5 furlongs, so sprinted in that race. Came on at the end, beat another horse that's in this race, Classic Rick, who's the number 1 horse I have in my top 4. But I think there's a lot to like about 3rd Street. This horse could get the job done with all those stakes races, having that nice class and coming in here to this one. We'll see if the horse can't get it done. And then I got number 5, Mo Winning. That's your top choice. I won't go in too much detail about this one. Last 2 races, big races. I mean, 2 starts back, his horse was in the Smarty Jones. Won the maiden special weight before that. Only 3 races for this horse in his career. We'll see what happens. I like those horses coming from Hot Springs to here to DFW. Let's see if Mo Winning can't get up there and do something good tonight.
And we've had a few trickle over from there, and I'm sure with their meet about to end, we'll see more coming over. And regardless of their form over there, you have to really watch them. In this case, I mean, 2 races back in the Rebel. Catching Freedom you've probably heard of. He has post 4 in the Derby tomorrow, and he's 3 for 5 for Brad Cox. And Woodcourt, who beat him last time out, Woodcourt was 4th in the Rebel. He was 6th in the, I think it's the Grade 3 Jeff Ruby back in Kentucky, and he was 3rd in the Illinois Derby, which used to be a really good race. Now I believe it is ungraded. But Woodcourt's a really nice horse. So he's been finishing inside 10 lengths of some of the best 3-year-olds in the country. And, not disgracing himself. So Mo Winning for me on the turn back to a sprint. I like him here over 3rd Street. And Uncle Happy I give a chance to. Was out exactly 8 months from August 6th to April 6th. Came back and broke his maiden against Open Company at Sam Houston. In fact, the race was written for 3-year-olds and up. He's a 3-year-old. Tried Lasix for the first time and ran a pretty nice race. So, I mean, he's in pretty tough against this bunch. We have some stakes horses in here. But I put him in for 3rd. We're down to, I think, let's not even try to count. There's so many scratches here. 6th race, all older horses off the turf. 1 mile. I was going to say, how many are in this field now? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, we're down to a 4-horse field. Take out the 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 through 4 are out. The 6 Cottonwood is out, and the 8 Tap the Dot. And, Don't Cross the Devil gets in on the main track only list, and he's another short price on the line.
Yeah, I ended up on Don't Cross the Devil. I mean, it entered for the main track only. It happened to be on the main track. You got to like moves like that.
Yeah, he's nice. He's good on the dirt, for sure.
Yeah, and, I mean, the last 3 races, this horse ran in some pretty big ones at Sam Houston Race Park. Won one of them back in February, followed that back up with 2 third-place finishes. You see some wins at Louisiana Downs last year for Don't Cross the Devil. I think it's just in a short field like this now with only 4 horses, I think this one is the one to beat for sure. The number 9, Old Crazy Bones, is going to be my second choice. This horse is coming in off back-to-back wins, both of those being on the turf, though. Look back to the last time this horse ran on the dirt, didn't do so hot. So can't put the horse on top. But then let's take a look at number 5, Saline River, as my third choice. Another one coming in off back-to-back wins, both of those on the turf as well. Before that, when you see this horse was on the dirt, ran a couple times at 1 mile at one of my favorite tracks in Turf Paradise, a couple seconds there. Saline River was 20-1 in that turf race with before all these scratches. We'll see what happens now, but give me Don't Cross the Devil, the 10 that draws in this one.
Yeah. I mean, he's got so much speed. He's going to be in a great position, if not just straight out on the lead. Carly's Dream, he's been in some off-the-turf races. He's 3 for 5 on the dirt now. At least 2 of those were in off-the-turf races. You can see if you have daily racing for him because they go back far enough. So he's got that. He's got that going for him. He's more of a turfer, but he's proven he can run on the dirt. So I used him second. Race 7. These are 3-year-old fillies, non-winners of 2, or claiming price $50,000. There's one in for $50,000. That's long shot. Strike the Bell. They're going 1 mile. This is a really nice race.
Yeah, so let's start this one off with the long shot. I'm looking for one here.
Shot.
Number 2, Haya Uma. Right, Haya Uma. That's going to be my pick here. Trained by Brett Calhoun. We'll see how he does tonight. He's got some runners on the card. Now, this horse won at first asking down at Delta Downs back in January of this year. Broke that maiden by 2 3/4 of a length. Most recent race was a 4th place finish. That was in a non-winners of 2 allowance at Sam Houston on the grass at 1 mile. So that was the first time. Well, this horse has only had 2 races, but that was the first time that this horse stretched out to a route race. Was on the turf. I like that the horse is going 1 mile once again and making the switch over to the dirt. I always like switches. I think there's always room for improvement. But, Haya Uma at 15-1 or some big odds might be all right here in race number 7. I got the number 1 Honor Cat as my second selection. This horse tried the Honeybee last time out. That's a grade 3 event at Oaklawn Park. Finished 9 of 10 in that one. Was well beaten, but I think this horse was just outclassed. Race before that, put in a good one to Oaklawn to break that maiden. Did it by over 5 lengths. A second before that, just missing by a head. Honor Cat, definitely one to watch here in race number 7. And then give me number 8, Magnolia Avenue, as my third choice here. This horse has been in 3 stakes races in a row. He's finished in the money in 2 of those 3 races, so not bad there, including that most recent race, which was a 3rd-place finish at a little bit over a mile down there at Sam Houston Race Park.
Yeah, the 2 fillies that she ran behind in that race were Miss Code West, who's basically unbeatable on this circuit now and may have to go somewhere else to find some competition, and Too Much Kiki, who's another one who's reeled off multiple wins until the opening weekend of this meet. She ran a nice third to those 2. I've got her second. She could win this race. It's a really interesting race. Honor Cat was my pick because I just don't know if anybody can go with her. She has speed in the rail, a couple of good half-mile breezes coming in. You note the race that she was on Lasix 2 races back, a mile at Hot Springs. She won in very easy fashion. She may have liked the sealed muddy track, which she's not going to get tonight, but still, she's back on Lasix tonight. She should like that. I think she was coming to hand pretty well over in Hot Springs, but that Honeybee was just a really ambitious spot. Curlin's Magic is interesting as well. Number 6, stretching out, and Curlin's Magic is pretty interesting. She's been facing some really good ones. Her last race at Oaklawn, she faced a next out allowance winner at Keeneland and Legedama. She faced the Purple Martin Stakes winner in Esternia, and she faced a 4-time winner and a stakes winner in Extreme Diva. Now, she was beaten 8 1/4 lengths, but Curlin's Magic could be interesting there. 8th and final. Down to a smaller field here. There were 14 entered, and 8 of them scratched. Scratch 1, 2, and 3 out of this 8th race. It'll be a mile on the main track. Scratch 1, 2, and 3. Scratch the 5, Queen Gladys. Scratch 8, 9, 11, and take out the 13 extra spicy. Miss Wish gets in.
So I went with number 7, Miss Callie. Last 2 starts both came on the turf course at Sam Houston. The race before that, you got to look back to find the last time this horse was on the dirt. Ran a solid second in that one, just missing by a neck. Now, that was a sprint at 6.5 furlongs. So I'm going to have to go a little bit further tonight, half a furlong further. What is it? Changed to 7 now, right?
It's up to a mile.
Yeah. Oh, up to a mile. Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely is going to have to go farther than 6.5, no matter what. But Miss Callie, that 6.5 race, the horse came up toward the end, and if you look at the comment, it says hung. So that's never a good sign, but the horse did have the lead at one point. You can see there in your program. The race before that, last one of 2023, was at Oaklawn Park at a mile. Didn't do too bad in that one. Was in for a $10,000 tag. Ran 4 of 9 in that race. But give me number 7, Miss Callie, over the 12, Cinnamon Face. This horse had a win 2 starts back. That was an allowance at Sam Houston. But much like Miss Callie, those 2 most recent races were both on the turf. They're going to have to look back to that dirt race that came at Remington Park last December. Finished 3rd in that one, but it was only a field of 5, and still the horse was beaten by almost 18 lengths. So question mark there. Then I went with the 14, Miss Wish, one of them that draws in also off the also eligible list as my 3rd choice. Horse won 2 starts back at Will Rogers Downs. For what I can see, this horse has been routing in some races, so should have the stamina to make the distance. Christopher Elliott gets the mount. He was a winner last weekend on some of our exotic animals.
Yeah.
So interested to see him get back on a horse and see if he can't pull it out in the nightcap tonight.
The way when this race was originally composed on the turf, I thought it was primed for a long shot, and I was going to pick Queen Gladys. But then when all the turfers scratched, I wind up on the horse that may end up being favored, My Patriotic Girl. Her record on dirt's pretty good. 2 wins, a second, 2/3, and 8 tries. She comes out of a couple of halfway decent turf tries. The last time she was on dirt, it was horrendous, but it was a much tougher race. Texas bred, 2 other than allowance, and she just absolutely didn't go at all. But some of her other dirt races, especially here last year, were pretty good. I don't know if she's as good as she was last summer, but I'm pretty confident she can handle a distance. Ms. Callie, I think, is going to be dangerous with her speed, but and she certainly has experience going 2 turns. So I took it 4-7. There's no high 5 on the last race because of the small field. There is a carryover in the high 5 of, I think, $7,406. That'll spin over until Saturday's last race, tomorrow's last race, because no high 5 wagering today. And in that 6th race, we're down to win and exacta wagering only with that small field. All right. Good luck.
Good luck to
you. It's
going
to be fun tonight. Weather's coming up pretty good. Let's hope it stays that way. We're currently good on the main track off the turf. Good luck with your Friday selections.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Sitting and watching the races. Where's your swag? You don't got none. How can you even call yourself a true fan without the genuine article, Lone Star Park swag? I don't think so. Why don't you go mosey on down to the corral on the first floor? They got something for everyone. Gifts, garments, and plenty of other stuff to take a gander at. Now if that don't put a bee in your bonnet, nothing will. Still plenty of time to check out the corral. What you waiting for?
Lone Star Park is the only destination in DFW where you can experience the excitement of live sports, the thrill of winning big, and the majestic beauty of thoroughbred horses doing what they do best. Join us for Lone Star Park on Saturday, May 11th. You can bring your favorite pooch to the track for a fun day. Visit LoneStarPark.com/tickets today. The horses are ready. Are you? DFW's most unique dining experience is at Lone Star Park, and it's called Silks, featuring tiered panoramic views overlooking the racetrack, bedding from the convenience of your table, and so much more. Tickets are on sale now for the thoroughbred racing season. Lone Star Park at Grand Prairie, your exclusive home for betting in North Texas.
Right there down on the inside, coming to the wire.
Join us on Memorial Day Monday when someone will drive off in a brand new Ford